Welcome! My name is Nonat, and if you clicked on this video, chances are you and your friends are considering trying out a brand new TTRPG, which is a massive undertaking. It's tough to turn down another campaign with the simplicity and easy accessibility of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, or a game of something that is completely free to enter, like Pathfinder 2e. But trust me when I say, you will not be disappointed if you and your group decide to take the journey to Billings, Montana, and experience a campaign of the Tingleverse TTRPG. Now, some of you may have never heard of this system before, and that's okay. In a world of permanent online existence, games like the Tingleverse are a little harder to come by, and that's because this game has no PDF. The only way to experience the Tingleverse TTRPG is to get your hands on a rulebook. And y'all, for about 20 bucks, you're getting your money's worth. This also means that there's no form-fillable PDFs and no VTTs that currently support the Tingleverse TTRPG, and that's okay, because the rulebook, just like the classics, comes with a fillable physical character sheet that you can put right into a copying machine at home, or Staples. So, sit back, grab a drink, and relax. This video has been divided into 3 easily digestible parts for your viewing pleasure: the world of Tingleverse, creating your character in Tingleverse, and of course, combat in Tingleverse. These 3 aspects make up the majority of the game, and once you understand the fundamentals of all 3, you'll be ready to jump right into your first session. We're going to start off with a very basic introduction to the world of Tingleverse. Tingleverse takes place in one specific location: Billings, Montana, right here in the US of A, in a slightly altered timeline. You see, Billings, Montana, United States is very similar to modern-day Montana, United States. There are people of all shapes, sizes, and colors, there's culture of all kinds, people are doing their jobs and living their lives. However, there's a few differences. Computers as we know them do exist, laptops, desktops, but the mobile phone was never invented in the timeline that is Tingleverse. No characters in this world are going to have access to a mobile device. Additionally, no weaponry or defensive options were ever invented beyond those available in the medieval times. So if you need a sword or a knife or a magic staff, you can find those in Billings, Montana. But if you're looking for something like a firearm or more advanced tactical armor, I'm afraid you're going to be out of luck, because in this universe, those options simply don't exist. Now, alongside the classic humans that we're familiar with our little flesh, blood, and squishy skin, there's all kinds of other inhabitants in the Tingleverse, namely a lot of animate objects. These are anything and everything that you and I take for granted. A cup of water could be animate. A plane could be animate. That spoon over there could be running its own restaurant for you to partake in, for you to order a nice meal, sit down, leave a generous tip, and that spoon will remember you, because that spoon is just as much of a person as you are. In Billings, Montana, nay, in the Tingleverse as a whole, animated objects are just as human as a human, and therefore they have all rights that any living sentient person deserves to have. So next time you see an animated barn that has its own farm, consider just telling them how healthy their cows look or how nice their harvest is going to be this year, because they're going to appreciate it. Alongside the animated objects and humans are a few more types of creatures, multiple of which can actually be played as your character, but we'll get into those a little bit later. The greatest threat to Billings, Montana is the Void. The Void is always encroaching and trying to break its way into the Tingleverse, to rip apart everything that it stands for, to infest Billings, Montana, ruin the quality of life of its inhabitants, and continue to expand its own reach, often by sending those who don't deserve it to the station of the lonesome train. But not all is lost. Adventurers like you and your friends are always out there fighting for love, to keep the people of Billings, Montana happy, healthy, and to stave off the encroaching threat of the Void. Once you understand this and your place in the world of Billings, Montana, you're ready to make your first character for the Tingleverse TTRPG. It's actually a little bit warm in here, so I think I'm going to take my vest off. Excuse me. So, you want to make your first character in the Tingleverse and you have no idea where to start because the character sheet is a little bit overwhelming. It's not as big as some TTRPGs, but there's still a lot of boxes to fill in here. Well, luckily, you only have 2 or 3 big decisions you have to make. Things like your character's name, their height, their hair color, that's all perfectly flavorful, and it's only how you wish your character to appear. No, the choices you'll have to make that are most important are your type, your trot, your ability scores, and your cool moves. To get it out of the way, your ability scores are very easy to generate. You take 4 6-sided dice, roll them, and drop the lowest. That is 1 score. So if you get 2 5s, a 3, and a 6, you would drop the 3, and you would have a 16 for a score. Do this 6 times, and then assign them however you want to the 6 ability scores on the sheet. Charm, Dexterity, Fortitude, Book Smarts, Street Smarts, and Strength. You have 2 opportunities to do this. You can either keep your first array of numbers, or trash them, roll all 6 of them again, but if you do this, you must stick with the second set of numbers you rolled. Each of these does something to your character, but I won't be going over the details of those in this video. Obviously, things like strength and charm give you various bonuses, but I want to keep this as simple as possible for new players. So if you have questions about what your ability scores do, ask your TM, that is your Tingle Master, at the table for your first game. They should be able to help you out. So now that ability scores are figured out, let's see exactly what you are. You have a choice to make when making a character in Tingleverse, and that is your type. What type are you? There's a familiar option to a lot of people, the human. If you just wish to play a normal, flesh and blood human in the world of the Tingleverse right there in Billings, Montana, human is always available to you. But there are 3 other options available for players as well. These 3 other types are Bigfoot, Unicorn, and of course, Velociraptor. Velociraptor? Each of these 4 choices come with their own different benefits and restrictions. However, play the character that is truest to you. Do you want to be an average John Doe? Well, play a human and fit in perfectly. Do you want to be a little bit quicker on your feet and you just really love the idea of being a scaly? Run a Velociraptor. Maybe you're just a big furry at heart. Run a Bigfoot or a Unicorn. Play the character you truly want to be. As you can see on the screen, all of the types except for humans get +1 to one ability score and -1 to a different ability score. So keep this in mind when considering what trot you'd like to pursue in life. This can make a very big difference. After all, you wouldn't want to play a charmer with a -1 charm, unless you do. Alongside the ability score alterations, all 4 different types have these benefits listed on screen, and specifically, Big Feet, Unicorn, and Raptors must wear armor specially designed for their body type. For example, if Raptors want to wear plate mail, they first off need to be a bad boy, because only bad boys can wear plate mail, and they need plate mail that has been designed for a Velociraptor's form, otherwise their tail's not going to fit. Similarly, Big Feet must wear armor that has been designed for a Bigfoot because they are much larger than a human. Okay, alright, gosh, it's hot today. Whew. With your type now selected, it's time to move on to the single biggest choice in all of your character creation. Your trot. How does your character trot through the Tingleverse? Do they solve their problems with their fists? Do they manipulate powerful magics? Do they wile people around with their charms and wiles? Is that what I wrote in the script? There are 5 trots to pick from in the Tingleverse TTRPG. The closest thing to these in other games would be classes, but while D&D and Pathfinder have fighters and wizards and clerics, the Tingleverse TTRPG instead has bad boys and true buckaroos and wizards. So sit tight, I'm gonna walk you through the basics of all 5 trots, starting with the bad boy, which is specifically stated in the book to be gender neutral. That's right, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, any one of you out there can be a bad boy at heart. So what is a bad boy? Well, a bad boy gets the most health per level at 1d10 health points every time you level up, and easily the single best attack score in the entire game. Don't worry if you don't understand what that means, I'll be going over that in the combat section of this video. But let me tell you, outside of attacking, the bad boy really kinda struggles. In fact, none of their saving throws gets below a 10, which is bad because in order to succeed a save, you need to roll higher than your saving throw. So bad boys, not great at saving, but they do get to hit really hard. They can use every weapon in the game, wear any armor in the game, as long as it fits your type, and every 5 levels, they can take an entire extra attack per turn in combat, meaning at level 10, your bad boy can attack 3 times per turn. Next up is the Charmer, which gets 1d8 health points per level and is pretty average in almost everything. In fact, even the game calls this the jack of all trades. Really poor attack scores, decent defense scores, pretty average saving throws, but a very powerful once per day ability. At any time as a free action, when the Charmer sees somebody about to attempt a roll, they can encourage them and give that ally +4 to whatever the roll is. An attack roll, a saving throw, an ability score check to do something. Once per day, the Charmer can look at them and go, hey, you look great today. You got this. And that ally gets +4 right then and there. The Sneak is the third Trot available and only gets 1d6 health points per level, and I know it's not super obvious from the name of the Trot, but they specialize in sneaking. They've got a pretty bad attack score, overall average saving throws, but they do have the single best ranged score in the game, making them perfect for sitting on the back line and firing on opponents that are trying to ruin the damn peace of Billings, Montana! Where did that... Now, when playing a Sneak, it's important to stay hidden and stay out of harm's way because you only get a d4 hit points per level. It said d6. You get d4 health per level, d6. They're very weak on their own, boasting only d4 health points. Sneaks are incredibly restricted in what weapons they can and can't use in combat, pretty much needing to stick to staves and daggers and slings and bows, maybe some throwing stars if you're lucky, but if a Sneak ever tries to use a weapon that they are not specialized in, they take an immediate -5 to their attack roll. They get to start the game with a small kit of thieving tools, whatever that may entail for your table, and once per day they can re-roll any dice roll they want, but they must stick to the second result. Golly, it is a scorcher today. I tell you what, dressing up for this was not a great idea. Now, up to this point, all the Trots I've been covering so far have been pretty run-of-the-mill. You got your rough and tumble, you got your sneaky beaky, you got your jack of all trades, sure. But let me tell you, where Tingleverse really shines is when it has a totally unique Trot unlike any other. I'm talking, of course, about the tried and true Buckaroo. True Buckaroos get 1d8 health points per level, and let me tell you that they are your best friend. And they better be, because let me tell you, they will not be standing up to much on their own. And this is because a true Buckaroo is incredibly unique in the fact that they are not allowed to make attacks. In fact, if a true Buckaroo ever makes an attack roll on their own, they lose experience points. But in exchange, this gives them some incredibly powerful, cool moves, as well as an ability they can use every single turn in combat. See, while the true Buckaroo cannot make attack rolls, every single turn they can heal an ally for 1d4 + 1 health points. Every single turn, as often as they want. Plus, every 6 levels, it goes up by another 1d4 + 1, meaning at higher levels, you can be healing as much as 4d4 + 4 health points every single turn in combat. Plus, the True Buckaroo has a once-per-day ability, where if somebody else is rolling something, the True Buckaroo can also roll it, and they take the higher result. This can actually be an attack roll. If the True Buckaroo rolls a 19 and the bad boy rolls a 2, it don't matter if the bad boy's got such a good attack score, True Buckaroo's gonna be in a whole lot better of a place. And also, don't go trying to use your sneaky little best friend healing powers outside of combat. It is only to be used to be defending allies in the heat of combat. In fact, using it outside of combat is a direct anathema to your Trot, and will distance you from your connection to the Tingleverse, thus causing you, the True Buckaroo, to lose an entire experience level. Was I doing an accent that... That just sounded weird coming out of my... I think it's just too hot. And the final Trot available at character creation is the Wizard. You are a wizard. You get 1d6 health points per level. You're not that great at anything except for fear and void saves. You are the best Trot in the game for those, and you're incredibly restricted on what you can use for weaponry, of course. You're also the slowest to level up, requiring by far the most experience per level compared to any other Trot in the game, but you get some of the strongest cool moves in the entirety of the Tingleverse. Plus, you get what is potentially the best once per day ability of any Trot. See, when wizards wake up in the morning, they become hard as rocks. That cannot be the name of the ability. Okay, I guess I'm teaching them how to play the game. Whenever a wizard is hard, they can ignore the next instance of damage they take, whether it's 1 point of damage from a not basketball or 300 points of damage from a building landing on their head. If a wizard is currently hard, they ignore the next point of damage. And after level 1, whenever they wake up in the morning, they get a bonus 10% chance per character level to become twice as hard that day, ignoring 2 instances of damage instead of just 1. Meaning once a wizard is level 10, they will always be double hard, ignoring the first 2 times they take damage every day. So now that you understand all the different Trots available to you, let's talk a little bit about combat, because while Tingleverse is ultimately a game about love, bonding, understanding, and improving the life of the residents of Billings, Montana, the void is ever encroaching, and you will be having to fight for your dang buckaroo life. Combat is primarily handled by using really only 4 simple scores: your attack score, your ranged score, your defense score, and your saves. Attack score and range score work the exact same way based on the kind of attack you're making. You either add, if it's a positive, or subtract, if it's a negative, your score from your attack roll. And your attack score is used for melee attacks, and your range score is used for, what's the word? It's fine, I'll edit it in post. Now, how do attack rolls work? Well, it's really, really simple. All you have to do is take the number 10, okay? And then your character's attack score. Let's say you're making a melee attack and your attack score is 3. Then you add that number to 10. So 10 with an attack score of 3, we have 13. Now, you have to take your target's defense score. If they have a defense score of 2, that is also added to the number. So 10 plus our 3 attack score plus our target's 2 defense score makes 15. Now, you roll a 20-sided dice, and you need to roll a 15 or higher, and your attack is a success. Now, if the numbers are negative, it works pretty much the same way. Negative attack score is really, really good. A negative defense score is really, really bad. So we take the base number of 10, and if your attack score is -5, then that 10 becomes a 5. And if the opponent you're fighting has a defense score of -3, well, that 5 becomes a 2, and now you hit on anything but a 1. And ranged score attacks work the exact same way, but for far away. But there's an added little caveat where if your ally is in melee with the target you're trying to hit with a ranged attack, and you miss your number by 5 or more, let's say you have to roll a 16, but you roll an 11 or lower, then you roll another dice, and there's a 50% chance that you hit your friend instead. Thirsty. It's just really, really hot. Oh, and if a hit is ever successful, you roll damage and the target loses that many health points. Nice and plain and simple. Initiative is also important because you need to know the order of which you do things in combat. And so when you want to do something, you say it. Not on your turn, though. At the beginning of each round of combat, you say what you're going to do. Everybody does. All characters, including the monsters, all say what they're going to do that turn. And once that's been said, you can't change it. If you're going to attack the Not basketball, doesn't matter what happens before your turn, you're attacking the Not basketball. After everyone decides, they'll roll a d10. And the lower your number is good. So remember, low attack is good, low defense is bad, low initiative is good. Everybody starts taking their turns in the order of lowest to highest initiative. So if you rolled a 1 on initiative, you're probably going first and doing what you said. But this is important, because if 2 people say they're going to attack the same monster, but the person who gets the first turn that round kills the monster, then the person who was going to second attack the monster doesn't get to attack the monster because there is now not monster. So their turn gets skipped. And then at the end of the round, everybody says what they're doing again and re-rolls initiative every round. But your initiative... Whoa. Oh my god. I need something to, like, balance. Hold on. Okay, can you just, like... I just need my thoughts to stay in there. Thank you. Thank you. I can cut this out in the after. So, we know how initiative works, but if you try to use a cool move on your turn, that actually changes your initiative. So, let's get into that and talk about cool moves, which are based on your Trot. Every single Trot has its own separate list of cool moves. There's bad boy cool moves, there's true buckaroo cool moves, there's wizard cool moves, and Trots can only use cool moves from their Trot's cool move list. And you get a certain number of cool moves per day according to the cool move table. Everybody gets 2 cool moves per day at level 1, and also knows 2 cool moves, because the cool moves you can do per day is also how many you know. Unless you want to do the same one multiple times. Think of them like slots, and you put a cool move into that slot. So if you want to use the same cool move twice at level 1, both of your 2 cool moves are actually the 1 cool move, but 2 times. So like if a bad boy wants to Great Leap twice at level 1, that's all they're doing at level 1. They can't... Hi. Cool moves are pretty easy to understand. They all say pretty much what they're gonna do in their description. Range is like how far away you have to be, and touch means that it's like touch. Duration, if it means it like does something and it lasts as long as it says, and if it has an area, that's like how big or how many people in the area. I gotta...
Brogan? Brogan? Hello? What the fuck is a tingleverse? What the fuck?